Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. Today we are going to continue working on this lumber for the wall coverings on the inside of the garage here. Up to this point, we've got about 13 hours into this lumber between milling it and planing it. And today I want to work on edging it. So we're going to run one side through the joiner, the other side through the planer, and then get it ready to start our shiplap joints and try to figure out the best way to do that with over 100 pieces of lumber here. So that's what we're working on today. Stick around. So the biggest limiting factor in our shop right now is we have a 6-inch joiner that has a 56-inch bed on it. And the general rule of thumb is that you can only effectively join material that is twice the length of your outfeed table. So our outfeed table is 27 inches, which would mean that we're about 54 inches is the max that we can effectively join and get a 100% accurate straight edge just using this table. And as you can see, a lot of this lumber is longer than that. These ones here are 7 feet long, and a lot of these ones are more like, 10, 11 feet long. And so what we're going to do to be able to join these is set up these roller stands and make sure that they are level with the bed. And if you're not familiar with joiners, you have two planes. So this is one plane and this is the other. This is lower, and so that way when it rolls across your blades here, it shaves that 16th or 1/8 of an inch off whatever depth you're taking. So we need to make sure that the roller stands on this side are level with your infeed bed, and the rollers on this side are level with your outfeed bed. So we'll show you how we're going to get that set up right now. All right, so we are going to take our 4-foot level here, set one end on the roller stand, one end on the end of the bed, and we're going to raise and lower it. Now, as you can see, when I am up too high on the roller stand, we have a gap on this side. When I go too low, we've got a gap on that side, so we're just going to go until the level is flat on the deck, which looks to be right about there, and tighten that down. Now, important to note is, the concrete floor in this garage is not 100% level. So once I have this set, I cannot move this. Otherwise, I'm going to have to recalibrate it again. Now that I have the first one set, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the second one, except this time we're going to be checking if we're getting up above that roller or below or creating a gap on the table there. So looks like right about there, we're sitting on the table and that roller, so we're level. Maybe not level, but we're even, we're flat. All right, there we go, guys. With about 5 minutes worth of setup and $80 in roller stands, we have turned this $600 joiner into a much more expensive unit. An 8-inch joiner with a 72-inch bed, you're probably looking at, probably $1,500, $2,000, depending on which brand you go with. So saving a little bit of money here and still getting the job done. All right, so all of our lumber is now S3S. If you're not familiar with lumber or woodworking terms, that means it is surfaced on 3 sides, 2 sides through the planer, 1 side through the joiner. And now we're gonna take that final step of making it S4S by running it through the table saw and cleaning up that 4th edge. Today's video is sponsored by Neighbor Doug. Some sponsors help us out financially. Neighbor Doug helps us out with his time. Do me a favor, go check out his YouTube channel, One Eye Customs, and hit that subscribe button. All right, there we go. All of our boards are now S4S. You can see they butt together nicely all the way along, so there's no weird gaps in any of those seams. But we are right in line with where I thought this project was going to take in terms of time. I thought this project was going to take a total of 25 hours to get these boards ready to hang on the wall. Like I said at the beginning, we were 13 hours into it with milling and planing. And I thought it was going to be about 3 hours for the joiner and 3 hours for the table saw. It ended up working out to about 4 hours on the joiner and 2 hours on the table saw. The table saw went a little quicker with neighbor Doug coming over here to give us a hand. So right now we have about 19 hours invested in these boards. And you know, when you're running these machines for hours on end, your mind tends to wander. And as an accountant, I tend to start thinking about the numbers and just how many times I have actually touched these boards. So I think I mentioned, and this is just counting from once they were already milled and in here in the shop. We ran them through the planer 6 times each. And then when we ran them through the joiner, some of them were really clean. They didn't bow at all, and they came off the sawmill really nice. So I only needed 1 pass on them. But some of them, you know, bowed pretty bad as they were drying. And, you know, if I had a dull blade on there might have been a little bit of a wobble in the cut. And so some of them actually took, you know, 8 or 9 passes on the joiner. So if we take an average of 4 passes per board, that's 10 passes between the planer and the joiner, and then luckily the table saw was just 1 pass, just because we're cutting that 1 edge off. So 11 passes on 100 boards means that throughout the course of this project, we have picked up 1,100 1x6s. So there's definitely the argument to be made for just going to the Home Depot and buying it. But when you've got a sawmill and you've got a project like this, where's the fun in that? Why wouldn't you just mill your own lumber? But check out all of this edging we got from running that 4th edge through the table saw. You already know what I'm going to be using this for. I'm going to run all this probably through the miter saw, and this will all make great kindling for getting fires restarted in the mornings. So we still have one more step we need to take with these boards to get them ready to hang on the wall, and that is going to be to add our shiplap joint. So the first option would be to run them through the table saw, and as you can see, we'd have the blade only come up about halfway through the wood, and then make that first pass, flip it this way, make the second pass, and essentially just be cutting out our shiplap joint. The second option would be to use your joiner. If you'll notice, the outfeed table of the joiner actually has a beveled out groove already for doing just this. So all you need to do is drop your infeed table so that it is level with that beveled out groove, bring your fence out, and then just start running it through until your shiplap joint is chiseled out there using the edge of the joiner knives. Now the third and fourth way to create our shiplap joint would be to use a handheld router or a router table. But the problem with some of our lumber is it still has a little bit of a twist in it from how it dried. I'm not too worried about that because we're going to be hanging it on a flat wall, and when we put it up there, if there is any twist on it, we'll be able to flatten it out by pressing it against the wall and nailing it down. So because that little bit of a twist does exist in some of the boards, running it on a fence on the table saw or on the joiner or on a router table, it's going to be tough to take something that has a little bit of a twist in it and running it against a flat fence. So I think probably the most accurate way to create a consistent shiplap joint is going to be to use the handheld router so we can adjust for any of that twisting that's going on in those boards. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, if you can think of a different way to create a consistent shiplap joint with boards that have a little bit of a twist in them. Don't forget, go check out neighbor Doug's YouTube channel. He is over here helping us all the time. I'm constantly calling him for advice, so I'd really appreciate if you went over to his channel, hit that subscribe button. If you guys enjoyed this one, give us a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.